All right, well, the billionaires are back. Forbes releasing its 33rd annual World's Billionaires list from 2019, and some notable faces made the cut. Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos reigning supreme this year, although no telling where that could go after a potential divorce, with Bill Gates and Warren Buffett taking second and third place, respectively. Makeup mogul Kylie Jenner is also named this year's youngest ever self-made billionaire at just 21 years old. Our next guest could very well be on his way to making Forbes' list. At 19 years old, he founded a software company that made millions. Joining us now is the author of How to Be a Capitalist Without Any Capital, Nathan Latka. Nathan, thanks so much for being here.
Zach, thank you for having me. Michelle, guys, good to see everybody.
Yeah, and you brought your book, too.
Yep.
And I find this title fitting because that's really what intrigued me about it, right? Is we know Kylie Jenner's a good example of someone who has money to start with.
I was going to say, you can't compare. First of all, I don't have lips like that, number one. Number two, didn't necessarily have a mom who's a total killer and very brilliant woman, and behind me with a lot of money.
Yeah, so I mean, talk to me about what you did to create a company from just, starting out with about $100 in your bank account.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know about the folks watching, but I mean, I was architecture at Virginia Tech and quickly realized this was 2008 was my freshman year, and I'm going, there's no way I'm going to sit here and study architecture for 4 or 5 years, pay for school, and then not have a job at the end, and nobody was getting hired. And Virginia Tech had the #1 architecture program in the country at the time. And I'm going, I better figure out a way to make money online, and started selling Facebook fan pages.
Really?
And these were pre-sales, right? So I didn't know how to code, but I'd call folks up and say, hey, there's this new thing called executive Facebook fan pages, and you need one. And I'd convince them, this cold calling, and then they'd PayPal me $700 per sale. Once I sold 100 of them, I said, it's worth my time now to learn how to code FBMail and deliver the product.
So Nathan, what do you do in order to identify different business opportunities? You've obviously been very successful. Is it do you try to just identify what will be big in 2 or 3 years from now? I mean, take us through that entire process.
Sean, I think everybody has a unique angle, something they're really good at in life. And the trick is, most times, maybe people are passionate about something that can't make a lot of money. So the trick is, how do you align both? And so what I teach people is, you go to a site like Fiverr or Upwork, these freelance sites, and you see the kinds of jobs that are ranking really, really well with a lot of 5-star reviews. That means there's clear demand. And when you start off doing a $5 or $20 or $30 job on a kind of per project basis, before you know it, you're making $100, $200, $300 a month doing that on the side, and eventually it gets to the point where you've kept your expenses low, you've got the side income, and it makes sense to maybe leave corporate and do the thing you really love. So that's a good place to look to find ideas.
But when we talk about people who really make it big, I don't know how many just, maybe you could start as a side hustler and just contracting on the side. But in terms of what you built, it was kind of bucking the trend in terms of rules that everyone tells you to do. And you mentioned, I guess, a lot of those come through college, where people say you got to be a generalist, or you got to be focused on one thing.
Yeah, pick a major. So you guys remember that? Pick a major. Sophomore year, it's like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Right?
Yeah. So what do you find that is kind of against the grain in terms of advice for people to get started?
Well, I think first off, today, people who have mastered one thing are very easy to replace. It's actually much better to be a jack of all trades and recognize the patterns, because then you can communicate with people who are masters in each of those jacks of the trade. And uniting those people around a team is where there's real value. So the first thing is, you really don't want to focus on one thing. You never drive over a bridge that had a single point of failure, because that's not a safe bridge. So why do we build our lives around a single focus, a single job, a single thing? It's very dangerous.
That makes sense. The other ones, be unique, focus on one goal, appeal to the masses.
You read the book?
Well, it's also
great. You're also cheating.
I'm not saying I cheated.
You're also cheating.
But you also dropped out of school, and I think that would kind of focus a little bit on one of those in terms of, I guess there are liberal arts schools that'll try and teach you about being kind of all over the place. But in terms of what you took away from that experience, obviously you're not telling everyone to drop out.
No, not always, right? I mean, there's a lot of education to going through the school system, but I will just say, I think it's more important to figure out how you're going to make money and be independent. And so one of my favorite moments was when I was hiring people, and I hired one of my professors out of school into my company, right? And that felt really, really good. That was like a wow. This is transition. In that same year, we put like 36 screenshots in the book. This is an income statement, 2013, where we posted the revenue that year, which was really exciting. So it worked. It worked nicely.
Yeah, I like the details, the nuggets in the book. A lot of times when we have people on, they don't give the specific deets.
They do, yeah. Look, and I know you guys have focused on Tim Ferriss before. Really a great guy, super smart. And we're looking at early reviews coming in, and people are going, this feels like an updated version of 4 Hour Workweek, which is such a compliment because he's such a visionary and did a great thing. But again, this book, Honestly, the publishers don't like it because it won't be valuable in 10 years.
That means it's got to come out with a second.
The screenshots won't work.
Got to come out with a second edition, is what that is.
Well, maybe.
Then you'll upsell
You know,
them.
I'm a podcast guy, not a writer, so this was very actually difficult to get the stuff on paper.
Yeah.
But it worked,
could
and the
imagine.
podcast is doing well. So.
Yeah, congrats on all the success, man. How to Be a Capitalist Without Any Capital, the name of the book.
You got it,
Nathan
Zach.
Latka,
Thank you,
for
sir.
being here.
Appreciate it. Guys, thank you.